The Let Kashmir Decide movement is bringing to you a brand new show on JKTV where you will get the latest updates and analysis into the situation in Indian-occupied Kashmir.
Modi and the Indian government want the world to believe that all is well in Indian-occupied Kashmir, but that is decidedly not the case. Join us and different guests every Thursday for insight into the latest developments in the Kashmiri freedom struggle.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us here this evening. Well, it's been quite, an epic day, a sad day. I think we all knew this was coming anyway, but nevertheless, to see it there in front of us, we've seen Yasin Malik handcuffed to a single army officer, surrounded by 20 others, perhaps showing the fear that they have of him, and then sentence is convicted, and then his sentence is due to be heard on the 25th of May. So I think, I don't know, I know for myself, I feel that obviously it's not shock, but it is shock because it's quite huge, it's real, and it's a very, very concerning time. So we're lucky tonight we have liaqat joining us from the UK zone, JKLF UK zone president. So we'll be hearing about the life of Yasin Malik and going forward in his events and where now for the freedom movement. So bringing in Mary from the USA to chat tonight with Yasin Malik. Good evening. With Yasin Malik. I am Yasin Malik. We are Yasin Malik. Mary, good evening to you.
Good evening. It is a very
How are
sad
you?
day.
It is a very sad day, isn't it? And I'm feeling, I guess, a little bit lost for words or what to say to let it sink in. It's been a fear and a worry, hasn't it, for a long time, and then suddenly it's coming sort of very quickly. It's like a train heading for a train crash, and what are we going to do to stop this? Right, so we'll bring in our guest, liaqat from the UK, JKLF president. Good evening, liaqat. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Hi, good evening. First of all, I must say a big thanks to Let Kashmir Decide, Claire and Mary. Thank you very much to inviting me here today to talk about Jammu Kashmir, to talk about Yasin Malik, to talk about humanitarian crisis in Kashmir, to talk about peace and love in Kashmir. Thank you.
No, it's our pleasure. Thank you. So I'll leave you in Mary's very capable hands. And if I feel I want to come in and join the discussion, I will do. But I think I'm looking forward to listening, to be honest with you, and reflecting on where our next steps can be going forward. So thank you. And thank you, Mary.
Hi, Lon. We want to begin with, many people don't know much about the case of Yasin Malik or why it's important. So if you could begin by explaining something about his background, where he came from, how he became politicized as a young boy, and how his development politically from into a guerrilla warfare politics and then into a more peaceful approach to social change. So if you could tell us something about who he is.
Okay, Yasin Malik is a Kashmiri prominent leader who was born in Srinagar, Jammu Kashmir, and sorry, I'm in.
There.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, so Yasin Malik was born in Srinagar, Jammu Kashmir. He was why he became involved in this Kashmir freedom struggle was when he was only 12, 13 years old. There was farmers' protest in Srinagar, where he was a teenage boy. He just joined the protest, and then the authorities they arrest the people and they start hitting and beating them up. He was one of them who got caught, and they ask him to stand by the wall. They slap him, and that's where something trigger in his mind first time that there is some kind of unrest, there is some kind of unusual in the country I'm living in the society where I'm living in. That's the first time when he was, kind of arrested or involved in this kind of freedom struggle. Since then, in his childhood till now, when he is 58, he never stopped in all his life. He got involved in peaceful political struggle while he was in school, college education, and then after that he joined like Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, a political peace. Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front was formed in 29th of May 1977 by the diaspora Kashmiris living in Birmingham, where I'm living today. And this is our leader, Amanullah Khan, his colleagues, Maqbool Bhatt Shaheed, and one of their colleagues, Khalid Ansari, and some others. They formed this platform to do a political peaceful struggle in Jammu Kashmir state. And the situation has never been ideal to work politically, diplomatically, in any shape or form in Indian occupied Kashmir, unfortunately. So what they decided to start it, because it's a lot of diaspora Kashmiri community here in UK. And then from here, they decided to go back to Jammu Kashmir state and start a political peaceful struggle. So this is how Yasin Malik got involved into Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front. Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front is an organization who is working for peaceful political solution, and their ideology is they want Jammu Kashmir state as an independent country and not part of any of the neighboring countries. This is what our ideology is. And on political birthright of the human rights of the any person who is born and free and who is born to live free. And there, I believe that Jammu Kashmir population and the Jammu Kashmir people have this basic right to live with peace, love, and harmony, as every other single nation is living with dignity and respect. And Jammu Kashmir dispute has been recognized in United Nations since last 74 years. Unfortunately, it has not been resolved yet. There has been too many reports on human rights violation, but I must quote the recent one. The United Nations in human rights human rights report in 2018 and 2019 was presented in United Nations, where there was mention of gross human rights violation in Indian occupied Kashmir. So these two reports are, in my view, are more than enough for international community to as a Kashmiri, if I give the reference, it's enough for me to prove that there is a human rights violation in Jammu and Kashmir. Because when we talk about the human rights violation in Kashmir, unfortunately, the international community is silenced. And I believe that is a criminal silence when we talk about other countries' human rights violation. We should talk about human rights violation in Kashmir as well, because since last 74 years, we have not able to see our families across the ceasefire line, which was drawn in 1948 when Pakistan and India came into being. And then unfortunately, our country is divided into three different parts. One is under Indian occupation, one is under Pakistani occupation, one one part is under Chinese occupation. So what we are saying is, our country should be unified as this was before 1947, when British government left India and Pakistan. They left this issue unresolved, and they should pay attention, because this is the life and the matter of 20 million Kashmiris living in Jammu Kashmir state. And the other thing I want to mention about Kashmir issue is, because when we talk about Jammu Kashmir issue with our local MPs, Foreign Office, or any political platform here in United Kingdom, there is a misunderstanding and misinterruption that this is the issue between India and Pakistan, or this is an issue between Hindu and Muslim. There is no war between Hindu and Muslim in Kashmir. This is not a dispute between India and Pakistan. This is a dispute of basic human rights violation. This is the dispute of divided Kashmiri nation under 3 countries, and this must be resolved. And without any color, creed, or religion basis, anybody who is living in Kashmir, in Jammu Kashmir, no matter what religion, what color, what creed they belong to, they are all Kashmiris, and they have equal rights of living there with dignity and respect, as I have, Yasin Malik has, or anybody else has. So from the Yasin Malik point of view, his struggle starts with Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, and he has been working peacefully in Jammu Kashmir. And Yasin Malik has met more than 3 elected prime ministers of so-called big democracy of India. Yasin Malik has been a visiting lecturer in Harvard University. Yasin Malik has been visiting senators in USA. Yasin Malik has been presenting his case into international community like European Parliament and UK, and he has met 2 prime ministers, elected prime ministers of Pakistan. So these fabricated, these illegal detentions and these unlawful detentions of Yasin Malik on the basis of fake charges against him have been resolved 30 years ago from the Indian courts, and they have been, now he has been arrested again in February 2019 on the same charges. He was released without any conviction 30 years ago, and they have put the same charges against him. And when he was in the court in front of his judge, because they didn't give him any legal assistance, he didn't have any contact with his family. His daughter, 10-year-old daughter, lives in Pakistan. She only met with Yasin Malik once in her life, and his wife is living in Pakistan. She only spent 2 to 3 months of their 10 years married relationship, and this is how Yasin Malik lived all his life. Most of his life has been spent behind, in the prison for the only crime he did is, the only crime Yasin Malik and every other Kashmiri done is, they are fighting for their basic right of freedom, and they are fighting for their basic right of dignity and respect, and they are fighting for their basic right to live like any other nation or any other country is living with their dignity and respect. And I must go into his case detail now. The recent charges against him, which has been announced today in India, Delhi court, when he was presented, I can provide you the video evidence where the journalist tried to ask him if you would like to speak. The only thing he could speak was, yes, I want to speak, but if I am allowed to. And then they drag him into the court. He was not even allowed to. Sorry, I'm a bit emotional. This is the emotion, not only from my side, from all the Kashmiri nation, but this is the big face of Indian democracy. And I must say, from this platform today and from your viewers and from this channel, please raise our voice, the voice of voiceless Kashmiri nation. And I must say thank you very much to Let Kashmir Decide. They have done a lot of work on Release Yasin Malik campaign. And this is not only thanks from me or from my organization. This is a big thanks from 20 million Kashmiris who are residing back home and who are living under the complete siege, under the oppression, and under the complete occupation. Unfortunately, they don't have the freedom like I have here in United Kingdom. They don't have the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, the facilities of digital world like you and me are enjoying here in United Kingdom. There is internet, but it's blocked. There is the other facilities of the social media, but you're not allowed to use it. If you change your, if you put a sentence on Facebook against your any human rights violation, you write something on Facebook, you are arrested. You are in the prison, and if you speak about it, you could be a terrorist, declared terrorist. If you speak about any human rights violation or any kind of oppression or brutality, which more than 800,000 Indian Army is doing in Jammu Kashmir state, when you speak about it, you are declared terrorist, and they can make any fake charges. And I must give you the reference of all these draconian laws, like they call it NIA, NIA, and UAPA, UPA, they call it, and these are and PSA, Public Safety Act. These are the draconian laws under which anyone could be arrested and put in the prison without any conviction or without any evidence about against them. So we must stop this, and the international community must stand with Kashmiris, and they must stop India to doing all these inhuman, illegal acts in Jammu Kashmir state. We should raise our voice for the voiceless Kashmiri nation around the globe, and we should take a stand. United Kingdom government, my honorable Prime Minister, should raise my voice, because I'm a Kashmiri British citizen, and I have family, I have my relatives, I have my family in Jammu Kashmir state, and on behalf of my family, I have deep concern about their daily living. My honorable Prime Minister, my local MPs, and people like you should raise our voice. And when the United Kingdom government sign any trade deal with India, they must ask them the question like they ask the other countries if there is any human rights violation there. Why can't they ask the same question like they ask Russia if there is a human rights violation in Ukraine? I condemn the killings in Ukraine. I condemn the killings in any part of the world. When we talk about Ukraine human rights violation, when we talk about human rights violation in Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq, and we intervene directly or indirectly, why can't we ask India to stop human rights violation in Kashmir? This is my question through your channel to the international community, including my honorable Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his and his rest of the team. When they do the trade with India, they sell the arms to India. In my view, they are equally the partner of killing of those innocent people who Indian Army is using those arms in Jammu Kashmir state, killing the innocent children. The innocent school-going children are the victim of pellet guns. There are the Indian Army is raping the women. Kunan Poshpura is an example and an evidence which has been quoted by Amnesty International. and it has been quoted by all other NGOs. There has been other killings of not only the Muslim community, the Sikh community in Jammu Kashmir state, which has not been mentioned. And I must say here today with you and the rest of all the freedom lovers and all the peace lovers and all the human rights activists that you must raise our voice. If Yasin Malik has been detained, we are Yasin Malik. We should raise his voice, because Yasin Malik is not fighting for an organization. He is fighting for the national cause of the freedom, complete freedom and independence of the country. He is this right has been accepted and authorized in international community. This right has been given to Yasin Malik, liaqat loan, and every single Kashmiri to through the United Nations. And if we believe on these international institutions, we must ask the international community to must intervene. Why can't Debbie Ibrahim was not allowed to go into Srinagar? She was returned back. Even she had the visa, she was returned back from the Srinagar airport. If India is calling himself or herself a big democracy, then why they can't allow the international community to visit the Jammu Kashmir state, to visit the streets of Srinagar, to see what actually is happening? If my family is not free to go to mosque, if they're not free to celebrate their Eid, if they're not free to see each other, how can India is claiming themselves a big democracy? This is a fake democracy, and we condemn this democracy. We will fight against this oppression till our last breath. And every one of us is Yasin Malik. We stand with Yasin Malik. We follow his steps. We stand with Yasin Malik's family. We stand with Yasin Malik's daughter. We stand with Yasin Malik's sister. We stand with Yasin Malik's mother. And we stand all the Kashmiris who are living in Jammu Kashmir state right now, who are under the complete oppression of Jammu Kashmir, in Jammu Kashmir, who are under the oppression of almost 1 million army in Kashmir. And there is no one, no international country is talking about Kashmir. My frustration is because we have been said this is a dispute between India and Pakistan. They must resolve it. No, it's not true. This is the British government. This is the British are equally responsible, because they left this mess in 1947 when they left India and Pakistan. They must go back and resolve and clear their mess and leave and make sure the Kashmiris, 20 million Kashmiris across more than 84,000 square mile state is reunified, and the people are allowed to live together like we are living here in England, in any other country around the globe. I hope I have answered all your questions. Thank you.
I have more questions. That was very interesting. Yasin was convicted today of terrorist activities, essentially, of being a terrorist. And I saw an announcement today in the Kashmiri News that India is deploying 15,000 more soldiers now to Srinagar, to Kashmir, to deal with increased terrorist activities. This is nonsense. And that they intend on sending thousands more next month during the Hindu pilgrimage. What is the Amarnath Yatra?
Amarnath. Yeah.
Yes.
Amarnath Yatra.
They intend on sending thousands more to deal with the threat of terrorism. I mean, it's rubbish, this whole terrorism threat. But it's something that I see that Indian nationalists and journalists, so-called propagandists, really, are whipping up that Yasin Malik was a big part of terrorism, that he was responsible for the death of Indian soldiers, that he was involved in the diaspora of the Pandits in the late 80s and early 90s. So could you discuss the question of Yasin Malik and guerrilla warfare? I don't use the term terrorism myself. It's guerrilla warfare, and it's a strategy that's been employed and debated for decades by oppressed peoples around the world. So as a strategy, it's a problematic. But could you discuss Yasin Malik's actual attitude in relationship to guerrilla warfare?
Okay. I'm glad you asked me this question. So, as I mentioned earlier, these are the charges against Yasin Malik 30 years ago when he was arrested on the same charges without any evidence, without any conviction. They released him afterwards. And now these cases have been planned again against because they want to do the judicial murder of Yasin Malik. They want to remove him completely. So there is no voice in Jammu Kashmir state. This is what India's plan is. But the India doesn't know there is 1 million Kashmiri living in United Kingdom, and they are all Yasin Malik. They will raise Yasin Malik's voice. And there is no evidence of these charges, as I mentioned earlier. These are all the fake charges. What Yasin Malik's crime is, Yasin Malik is doing the same struggle Gandhi did in to liberate his country. He is doing peaceful political struggle. This is why he said to the judge in the court, if Gandhi did the crime of liberating his land peacefully and politically, I am doing the same. If you consider me a terrorist, then Gandhi was terrorist as well. So he done nothing wrong. And one more thing, I want to make it clear, we are not against India as a country. We wish them all the best. We respect the Indian people in their own land. But when it comes to oppression, when it comes to illegal occupation, when it comes to the Indian army, brutalities in Jammu Kashmir state, then there where we speak about the oppression, and that's where we talk about Indian illegal oppression. That's where Yasin Malik stands for the nation of Jammu Kashmir. That's where he put himself, his life in danger, and this is not the first time Yasin Malik has been in the prison. Yasin Malik spent more than 40 years of his life in prison, in and out. He has been in the prison most of his life, and he said, prison is my second home, because he has been put into that situation now, and he is not the person who will compromise against this illegal oppression, and he is our national hero. Yasin Malik is the Kashmiri leader, same like the Nelson Mandela was the leader of Africans. Yasin Malik is our Nelson Mandela. We love Yasin Malik. We are Yasin Malik. We stand with Yasin Malik.
Excellent, thank you, liaqat. Something that you pulled up, that taps into me with the Western perspective. The overall thing, like with this thing about nothing against India, nothing against Pakistan, like we don't. What is it? An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. This will never stop. If they keep killing one another because they're trying to speak up for something, it's not a solution, it's not an answer. And that, I think, is my frustration with the UK government, the Western governments, where it's accepted that somebody is being killed over when he's been that democratic voice on the stage. We know he's visited the UK, he's visited the USA, so everything was kind of put behind him, welcomed as a political leader, welcomed as a voice. And it's blatantly clear to me with JKLF being banned in Kashmir itself, and now this sentencing on him, from sitting this side of the world, it's like, what's going on? I know I've likened it sometimes to walking past another schoolyard and children are, beating one another up and hitting another with knives. You wouldn't walk past and say, that's not my school, I'm not getting involved. And I get very frustrated that this is going on, where, being quite pragmatic, none of this should be going on. And it's like not about fighting with anybody, because we need to solve this. Kashmiris need their voice. We need to solve this. While you see Malik's voice is being silenced and that fear of what's ahead, we're getting further away from solving this. And the world and the whole situation is getting in a worse situation, and it's heartbreaking, it's destroying. But as you say, we have to just keep the mentality of, you know, anybody standing for freedom is Yasin Malik. So Yasin Malik will be, you know, will live eternally regardless of what the Indian government actions take. But we need to stand up so that our future is not wrecked, and the Kashmiris' voices are heard.
The worst thing, sorry to interrupt, the worst thing is because Yasin Malik has not been allowed to present his case in the court. He has been given the dictation like, okay, you done this, and this is what we are going to do with you. So when he didn't have this access, legal access, then he said, okay, I will present myself if you think that doing a peaceful political struggle is a crime. So I've done it so many times, and if you release me now, I will start again, and if you kill me, somebody else will take from there. So it's not like if they remove Yasin Malik and there is a like complete silence in Kashmir. As I said to you, there are millions of Yasin Malik will raise his voice, and that's why I said when I mentioned like India and Pakistan, because there's 2 atomic power, guys. You must consider this is not a joke. When there are 2 atomic powers head to head with each other, the poor Kashmiris, what can they do? They can only beg for their life. What we are trying to say to international community is they must intervene and bring them both on the table. Rather than doing the trade deals with them, they must ask them first resolve this humanitarian crisis, and then we will do a trade deal with you. This is what the United Kingdom stands for. The peace, love, and liberty, the liberal, like freedom of speech, freedom of expression. These are the British values. And they must, if they sanction Russia for Ukraine, because Russia invaded Ukraine, which in my view is wrong. They should not do that. And if United Kingdom and all the European countries are making sanctions against Russia, why can't they do the same with India? United Kingdom is one of the arms suppliers to India, and India is using the same arms in my country to kill innocent people. That's why I must raise my voice, and my voice is clear. My voice is Mary. My voice is let Kashmir decide. My voice is every freedom lover, peace lover living in United Kingdom. So I request all of you guys to be Yasin Malik, to raise voice for him, not only for him, but all the Kashmiri nation. Claire mentioned that JKLF has been banned in India, Indian occupied Kashmir. Yes, I do know. But for your information, Claire, Amnesty International has been banned as well in India. They kicked them out from India. When I had last time meeting with Amnesty International here in United Kingdom, they said we are banned as well. So I said, okay, why don't we work here together and raise our voice internationally? So maybe our voice is heard. So this is like they can ban the voices, but they can't stop us outside the Indian boundaries.
Yeah. Well, we have to work harder, and anybody listening, you know, listening there to what liaqat said, we have to get stronger. We have to raise our voice. We have to demand. What we're seeing is our governments, they're not acting on their policies in the same way for different countries. You know, so there's a lot more at play, and, you know, we are going to have to step forward. So liaqat, thank you so much for that. Anybody listening, think of any ways you can to raise your voice. Thank you also to everybody leaving their comments. You know, fantastic. So brilliant. Mary, back over to you.
I do have some more questions, Lon, and one of them is, why do you think the India has imprisoned many human rights activists like Kuram Parvez, and it's had several. I mean, the journalist it's recently arrested as long-term political prisoners. It has thousands of young kids in their gulag. Why do you think they're making such a cause celeb out of Yasin Malik? Is it because he has had a lot of influence among young activists, young Kashmiri freedom fighters? Is that the reason that they're focusing on him to discredit him? because of his influence and to destroy his influence and to impugn him as a terrorist? Is that what? Can you tell us why they're focusing on Yasin and what's the importance of defending him, of his case?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much asking me very important question. Yasin Malik is the true voice of Kashmiri nation, the leader of Kashmiri nation, the sentiment of Kashmiri nation is Yasin Malik, and he is the one who has been challenging the Indian authorities in Indian occupied Kashmir. That's why they are planning to remove him completely, so they can grab more and more land, so they can kill more and more people. With regards to the journalists, it's not only Khurram Parvez, there is Mr. Shah and so many other journalists who have been arrested because they were raising their voice for this basic human rights violation. As I mentioned earlier in my discussion, if you change your status on Facebook, if you text on WhatsApp, if you make a phone call, everything is recorded and monitored, and next day your family don't know where you are. You could be somewhere in total complete disappearance, and your family don't know. And this is what's happening in Kashmir. There is a complete oppression, there is a complete blockade, there is a complete ban on freedom of speech, freedom of expression. That's why Yasin Malik raised the voice for the voiceless Kashmiris. That's why they arrest him. That's why they kept him under detention in last couple of years. And their plans are to penetrate that particular Hindutva ideology in Indian occupied Kashmir, because BJP government wants to put some more Modi officials in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And if Yasin Malik is out there in the public, it's not easy for them to penetrate. That's why they arrest not only Yasin Malik, they arrest Shabir Shah, they arrest Manzoor Sheikh, they arrest Masarat Alam, they arrest Mr. Faktu, they arrest Asya Andrabi, they arrest so many other political prisoners. That's why our campaign is release Yasin Malik and release all the political prisoners. So like Engineer Rashid and so many others who have been put in the prison, we are raising voice for all of them. And from your channel, I must say, all the international community, please do not keep this criminal silence on the killing of Kashmiris, the innocent Kashmiris. Please speak out and raise the voice, for the voiceless nation. This would be better. Rather, it's too late. If there is a excuse me, atomic war between India and Pakistan, then there will be, I know there will be not a single Kashmiri in Jammu Kashmir state when there is atomic war, but then there is other killing as well around the globe, and I don't want to go into that route. I want all the Pakistani and Indian citizens to spend that budget on education, poverty, health services, rather than buying more and more arms and killing people. Because my problem is, I am living on one side of the control line and my auntie is living on the other side of the control line. When there is a fire between the two armies, the armies, when fire from each other side, the innocent people, the local population get killed. And that's my concern. That's why I request the international community to intervene and stop and give the right to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, which has been recognized in United Nations 74 years ago, that there is going to be a plebiscite, and that plebiscite never happened. The Prime Minister of India, Nehru, make a speech in Lal Chowk, Srinagar, and he made the promise to the Jammu Kashmir people that time that we will make a plebiscite here in Kashmir, and you will choose either you want to live independent or you want to part of one of the countries. And that never happened. And international community bring those two countries together and force them to put the Kashmiris into the case, and they decide what their future is going to be. Thank you.
Thank you. I think also, as you said there, we're campaigning here for the release of Yasin Malik because his case, he's under trial right now. He's convicted, he's sentenced. But when we're saying Yasin Malik, we know we speak for one prisoner, we speak for all. Whichever one we mention, they're synonymous of all the others. And I think that's really important for people to realize. It in many ways, every time you speak for one Kashmiri prisoner, you're speaking for all the others. So we often hear, well, what about this, and who about this one, and what about that one? They're all encompassed. It's not just one, it's every single one of them. One face may lead the way, because as a campaign group, it's often easier for somebody to, as a campaigning, to tap onto one face. But right now, Yasin Malik as the voice is in big trouble. And at the moment, that's where the energy should be put, because it's the democratic voice who's been on the political stage, that's been welcomed. The crimes, as you said, liaqat, what he's being tried for is something that goes back years. And when there's action that's gone on, post that, it's very, very frustrating. But sorry, thank you. Just had to air my opinion again. Back to you, Mary. Oh, hang on, you're on mute.
There's pretty much a news blackout.
Sorry, Mary, I think you're on mute. It's okay, we can hear you now.
Okay. There's pretty much a news blackout of what's going on in Kashmir. But I did see two political organizations, the Hurriyat and another organization, that protested the increased killing of young Kashmiri men and boys. They protested it, and the increased military activity. Do you have any information about what's going on? Because it's quite alarming. There were already almost daily, sometimes more than one daily military those cordon and search operations, but also there were also constant extrajudicial killings. But could you go, because we don't get a lot of information. Claire and I and several other activists are banned by India, so we can't get information to or from Kashmir and India. So do you have information about this increase? It's a great concern that young men are being killed and arrested, and neighborhoods are being terrorized. That there's an increase.
The problem is, at the moment there is no nobody is allowed to do any kind of demonstration in Jammu Kashmir. You are not allowed to even. I said to you, protest is something big. You're not even allowed to talk on social media about this. If you do that, you get arrested, and they make fake charges against you. Oh, you done this terrorist activity. You are trying to terrorize people. You are trying to do this and that, and then you are totally disappear. Your family doesn't know where you are, and this is what's happening. And the teenage boys have been picked up when they are going to school and colleges, and they have been put in the prison. So nothing has been proved against them. It's just on the basis of suspicion. And as I mentioned, the draconian laws like PSA, Public Safety Act, and NIA, TADA, POTA, UAPA, these are the laws. Under these laws, they can arrest anyone without any evidence, and they can put them in the prison like they did with Yasin Malik and the other political prisoners. They cannot prove them guilty yet. What they can do is, if the judge is not allowing you to bring a solicitor with you, or just take your verdict on the video link and don't listen to you and just give you the decision, this is how they are dealing at the moment. Why Yasin Malik's family has not been allowed to see him since a long time? They make the excuse of COVID in 2019, but now we are in 2022. Yasin Malik's wife have no access to him. They can't even talk to each other. Yasin Malik's daughter, the 10-year-old little princess, She could not see her dad in all her life. This is really alarming. This is really panicking. I have children. You have children. You can feel the pain of the Kashmiris, how they live. And we recently, couple of weeks ago, we celebrate our Eid festival. And in Indian occupied Kashmir, the big mosque where they have the big social gatherings on Eid day, they go for the pray. They were not allowed to go for the pray. They asked them to pray at home. And this is what the life of a Kashmiri is at the moment. And this is not for today. We have been suffering since last 74 years. And now we are fed up and frustrated because enough is enough. And I must say that this is pushing the youth. They are instigating them to do something wrong. So they are pushing them towards the wall. So if you stop every single corner of the peaceful struggle, the what option you have is left is very dangerous. And I don't want my nation, my youngsters following that route, because that's very dangerous. Not only for them, it's dangerous for everybody. And I wish that India listen to the international community and release Yasin Malik and all the political prisoners and give the right of the plebiscite and to the Jammu Kashmir people as and quoted and referenced and accepted in United Nations. And this is what we are fighting for. And this is what we will do till our last breath. Nobody can stop us. Nobody can, they can arrest us, but they cannot oppress this voice. They killed Maqbool Bhatt in 1984 in the same jail where Yasin Malik is now. They hanged him in 1984. Then they killed Afzal Guru, and the verdict was, the judge said to Afzal Guru and his family that on the public sentiment, we hang Afzal Guru. This is what the judge is saying, that because public wants us to kill him, that's why we killed him. They couldn't prove any crime. This is the Indian judiciary I'm trying to show to the international community through your channel today. So what do you expect from that judiciary, that they will do justice to Yasin Malik or any other prisoners who are in the prisons of Indian jails or in Jammu Kashmir state? No, they will never do that. They will kill them one by one and they will remove them. And I must request all the international community, please raise our voice. Please be Yasin Malik. Please be the Kashmiris. And whenever you talk about Kashmir, when you are in the international community, please raise our voice. Please write to your local MPs. Please write to your councillors. Please make them aware what's happening in Kashmir. Give them the evidence. Give them the reference of United Nations Human Rights Commission reports of 2018 and 2019, which have been presented in European Parliament, which have been presented in United Nations. And the international community should go and they should watch and investigate themselves what's actually happening in Kashmir, how the Kashmiris are living, how they have been pushed towards the wall because their tourism has been destroyed. They have no way to live with. Their economy has been destroyed. They have nothing to eat. There is no food for them to left. There is no job for them to left. There is no employment them for to work and feed their families. And what are you trying to ask those Kashmiris to? You are pushing them towards terrorism, and this is what your plan is, and we must stop this, and please help us to stop this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You mentioned, I'm glad that you talked about the other political prisoners, because thousands of them are anonymous. We don't know the names of these kids. Probably, I think there are reports that parents don't even know what jail the kids are in. Indian state can't make an accounting to the parents for where the kids are. It's quite a nightmare. But I noticed that some of them, including Karim Parvez, have some of the same, quote, legal charges against them as Yasin did. That is fomenting terrorism in some way, or inciting the stone pelters. So I'm wondering if you could elaborate more about other political prisoners.
Who?
Not just
okay.
the
Who?
very prominent ones.
First of all, let me just say to you 1 minute. Who are these stone pelters? Are the young boys who are the victim of pellet guns when they are going to school?
Yes.
When the innocent kids are going to school, they shoot them with the pellet guns.
Yes.
What they do, if you are walking through the road, you have stone, you pick it up and you throw. That's what they are doing. And those stone pelters are terrorists, and 1 million army occupied Jammu Kashmir.
I call them freedom fighters myself. Is he frozen?
He's frozen. I can hear you now. I was on mute. He's frozen on us. Hopefully he'll be back very, very shortly. Mary, what's your thoughts and comments that you want to share right now?
Well, just I didn't want him to misunderstand. I myself, stone pelting existed in Northern Ireland. I witnessed it myself when the British troops were there. It exists in Palestine. It exists in Kashmir. It exists when the oppressed are powerless against the heavily armed oppressor. So, like he was beginning to say, when kids are going to school and they're being hit in the back with pellet guns, or when they're being assaulted in one way or the other, if they pick up the only weapon they have, which is a stone, more power to them. I hope they hit their targets. I hope they hit, knock a few of those soldiers out. I'm sorry, but they're freedom.
Well, exactly. If they weren't there would be no reason to pick up a stone, would there? So it's always the old adage when you look at those that are being so-called attacked. Well, where does that come from? So no, I agree with you. Hopefully he'll make his way back in a moment.
I think of them as civilian defense guards. For
civilian
these
defense guards.
That's how I see them, as civilian defense guards. And it isn't just young kids. You see these wonderful pictures of Kashmiri, middle-aged Kashmiri women as stone pelters. You're back, so continue, because what you were saying was important. Lone, if you could go on.
I must apologize to your audience and the viewers for this distortion of internet. And I was talking about the Kunan Poshpura.
Yes.
This happened. The Indian Army raped more than 300 women in one night, and this is being referenced. This is being quoted. This is being mentioned in Amnesty International report and some other NGOs. But what happened? Nothing. Nobody can even ask them why you done this. Thousands of women don't know where their other half is, where their better half is. They call them half widows. This term is only used in Jammu Kashmir state. Nowhere else you see this term used, half widows. That's only in my country where I was born in. So all these crimes and all these killings done by Indian Army in Jammu Kashmir state must stop, and there must be a way out of this mess. And I think United Kingdom can play its role to intervene and resolve this issue, and it's their moral duty to do this, because I believe that on behalf of 1 million Kashmiris, we will be knocking their doors anyway. We will be protesting. We will be writing them down, the emails and letters and petitions. They can reject them, but they cannot stop us to doing that. So if they want us to stop, then they have to resolve this issue, unfortunately. And I wish good luck with Yasin Malik and the rest of all political prisoners. And I can assure all the Kashmiri nation that we will fight, we will resist for our existence, and we will be the voice of those innocent children and those innocent women, old, young, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We will fight for your basic right in international community around the globe. And once again, thank you very much, Claire and Mary, for your efforts done so far. And I don't have words to express my sincere thanks to you on behalf of 20 million Kashmiris. Every 5th of month, every 5th of each month, the campaign you done so far for release Yasin Malik and the events you organize for these related to Kashmir issue, I can't give you reward, but I can only say thank you very much and I love you all. And we will work together to break this international criminal silence. Hope for the best.
Yes. That was very interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I'm grateful for anybody raising voice, because essentially this is about humanity and injustice. Everything that comes above that, we know. And, it's an honor that we all can connect like this and do something about it and not just sit and watch it. Yeah. So, Kashmiri or not, it's just a whole thing of humanity. That just happens to be the context of it. And we're watching, poor Kashmir is one of the victims in all this, and we're sitting and watching this. And then what's happening to Yasin Malik today, you must be, as you say, very emotional, very drained. Yeah. I think Mary just said it. I feel sad. I feel sad today. We've got the, as you say, the solidarity events. There's the signature of the campaign. We've all been working. We've all been protested. And today, to be told that Yasin Malik's been convicted and then we're waiting on his sentence last week, it's like somebody's given you a right good kick in the tummy. We will keep fighting. We know we will. But sometimes I think we're allowed to just stop and go, ouch. But thank you for all you've shared tonight. Mary, have you got any other questions lined up, or have you reached the end?
Hey, Lone answered them very well. It was very interesting. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At the end, I must say, look, they convicted Nelson Mandela and put him in prison for 27 years. And yes. Then they apologized and released him and award him. And with the dignity and respect, he lived with the legendary life. And Yasin Malik is our national Mandela. Yes. And all the other political prisoners who are fighting for us, who have been behind the walls for to stop the voice, we will fight for them, and we will be their voice, like we are Yasin Malik, you are Yasin Malik, I am Yasin Malik. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you both. Good night, liaqat. Thank you for joining us. Good night, Mary. Thank you so much for your insightful questions. Everybody at home, thank you so much. Stay blessed. Sorry about the events that have happened today, and anything we can do to raise voice, let's build together, give out your suggestions, and we can do that. So good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
Excuse me.